Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking, right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown, Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions. How about those Chiefs?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kingdom Corner. I am your host, Andrew, and with me, as always, is my friend, your favorite co-host, the man who goes to the grocery store and says, that meat is not good enough for my family. I will go out and slay my own meat to feed my family. I need no one else to provide. Our favorite person, Mr. Dale Baker.
All right. Well, Andrew, what's happening, man? How you doing?
Hey, we're doing good. We're doing good. So, had church last night. Had some few students got National Honor Society stuff, but man, hey, that's all right. So that's just a new thing to me because I was not one of those kids to be in the National Honor Society. So fun story about that. Even I remember talking to my sister not too long ago, maybe a year or so ago, and she's like, "Oh, you remember National Honor Society?" And I said, no, Lydia, I do not remember that. She's like, "You were a part of that, right?" I says, "No, Lydia, I was not invited to be a part of it." She said, "Andrew, you don't have to be invited. You just have to have a certain GPA." And I said, "Like I said, Lydia, I was not invited to be a part of it." So
that's right. We're just trying to.
Hey, props to all those guys that are able to do it, though.
Yeah, and gals, guys.
That's
and gals,
right, guys and gals.
Yeah. We were, but yeah, we did. I just try to stay. I didn't want to be the dumbest kid in class. I didn't want to be the smartest kid in class. Just wanted to be right there in the middle, not draw any attention myself.
That's right. That's all you got to do. So, well, and especially, I think we can probably all admit now, in high school, we're probably not all applying ourselves as great as we probably should have been. Wow. So, no. If anyone is like me, you're just doing whatever you can to get by and to get on to the next thing because not your thing. Or at least you don't want it to be your thing. So, but either way, it was a good night at church. So,
great.
Yeah, it was good stuff. So now we're jumping into the week against the Packers. So Sunday night football. Man. So primetime game coming up once again. So Chiefs got a lot of those this year.
Yes, they have. They have the max, right?
That's right. So, and it wasn't too long ago that we were not getting hardly any. So we'll take it.
Right. Yes. How come they haven't been flexing games?
Man, I don't know because what was it? There was a game. Oh, the Monday night game was awful.
Monday night game, terrible.
Awful. I mean, if they can flex a Thursday night game, surely they can flex a Monday night game.
I mean, I think we should. I think we should flex this Eagles 49ers game to a Monday night game.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a good one. So they should definitely start flexing more of these. I'm not sure why they haven't flexed more because there's definitely some of these games that have not been that great. So,
which definitely I know has to be a headache when you flex a game because the guy who gets the hotel or the gal who gets the hotels and the transportation and all that had changes. But surely they accommodate NFL teams. We want to see a good product. The Bears didn't score a single touchdown and won a game.
Yeah.
Can't have it. Can't have it. That can't have it. So anyway.
Yeah, not ideal, that is for sure. So, but either way, we got the Sunday night game this week, so we'll take as many primetime games as they want to give the Chiefs. That's for sure. So, especially after last week against the Raiders, I mean, are the Chiefs back?
Are the Chiefs back? I think they're back in a good sense. But I think we got to see a couple more games where they're getting scoring in the second half. But
that's right.
To go down 14 points, I don't think there's very many teams in the league right now that would buckle down and come back. I mean, I think I heard this week that the Chiefs had 4 offensive plays in the first quarter.
Yeah,
of the game.
It's possible because they did not do well to start that game at all.
They did not do well. And so just kind of like that, you kind of like, well, maybe this game's lost. But now they come back and score 31 points, 31-3 is not a bad run.
Not at all. Not at all. So we'll take it. All right, so let's jump into a few of these numbers here real quick before we jump into the other thing. So let's look at the offensive side first. So the Chiefs offense, they're number 7th in passing. They're number 17th in rushing. So that evens out to be number 8th overall in total yards. Chiefs have the number 8 offense coming in, and they're averaging 23.3 points a game. So then you got the Packers offense. They're 16th in passing, 21st in rushing, So an average of 18 overall offense and total yards for the Packers, and they are averaging 21 points a game. So those are the two offenses. They're going to be matched up against these defenses, and the Chiefs defense is still a top 5 defense to no one's surprise. Well, maybe not now. At the beginning of the season, it probably would have been to you and me both even, but man, it is a good thing to say Chiefs have a top defense. So the Chiefs pass defense is number 4. Rush defense, they're 19th, so that is definitely their weak point on defense. They're still giving up 4.6 yards per carry on defense. So, and that 63-yarder on Sunday did not help the average. That's for sure.
No, it did not.
Yeah, but still overall, they still have the number 4 defense, and they're giving up 16.5 points a game. So that's 3rd overall. So 3rd best. So that is anytime you can keep anybody under 20 points a game on average, that is a great defense. So, yeah. Chiefs defense, nothing to worry about there as long as we can stop the run. So Packers defense, they're 9th in passing. They are 27th in scoring, which means that they are 18th overall in total yards given up. And they are pretty good at scoring defense as well. They're giving up just a little over 20 points a game. So they're top 10 in scoring defense too. So a lot of good matchups to watch there. So, I mean, the big things to stand out is obviously the Packers' rush defense is much worse than any of their other stats. They're kind of middle of the pack for most things except for that rush defense. So they got a good pass defense. So and that's the part that the Chiefs have been struggling with lately is their pass offense. So that might be something to watch there.
Yeah, that might be a tough matchup for us. But I know many of their corners are hurt. Did they have a safety that got hurt? They didn't play. Yep. So I know they got the injury bug right now, and so hopefully that'll help us. Did not help them. They played the Lions on Thanksgiving. I'm sure most of our fans were watching the Lions and Packers game, not because they're fans, but because it was on TV. And so, but it's funny. Monday night I was watching football. My wife walks into the room and she goes, "Football's on again?" And so she goes, "What is going on?" And so, because we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then, so it's a lot of football. It was glorious. I said, "Hey, just enjoy it. There's going to be a few months here. We're not going to have football at all."
Exactly.
So let's just enjoy football, even if it's bad football, even if it's Minnesota and Chicago playing bad football. But excited to go up to Lambeau. I know it's a historic stadium, and it always seems like these Green Bay games get hyped up and then they don't meet expectations.
Yeah, they just have one of those story franchises with a lot of history there, and so people, because of the history of that franchise, I think kind of talk it up a lot more than maybe it ends up being. So, but they've had a lot of good runs over the years, and I mean, they went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, so 2 great quarterbacks in a row there. I think well, let me ask you, how do you think their new quarterback, Jordan Love, is? Do you think he's going to be the guy, or what do you think?
I do not think he is the next Brett Favre or the next Aaron Rodgers. I do think he is a franchise quarterback, if that makes sense.
Okay. So you think he'll be there for a while, just maybe not an elite quarterback?
Yeah, just maybe not the elite of the elite. I mean, 2 of the Hall of Famers back-to-back, it's unreal for an organization. And so for another one, a third would be just, I think, impossible. And I think we've seen that he can make the passes. I think the game is still a little fast for him. And so I think here in a couple of years, they'll slow down and he'll be adequate. And so we want good quarterback play in the NFL. Because it makes the game so much better than Again, I feel like I'm ragging on the Minnesota, but watching the Pasternaut, I think we learned why he was a backup for 6 years. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so do you think he'll be something similar to like a Russell Wilson in Seattle? Would that be a good comparable for him? So a guy who's good, but maybe not necessarily elite.
Yeah. I think.
Or do you think or do you think he might not be that good?
I think Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is the comp. Not going to win you games, but it's good enough to keep you in games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think he's going to be the next All-Star or All-Pro by any means. I'm not sure he's going to ever be able to take them to a Super Bowl unless they get a great defense or just players around them. Similar to, definitely. I mean, and not to rag on this guy too much either, but Brock Purdy and, the
Yeah.
49ers, he's got so much talent around him that he's got to do something really bad to lose them a game. So how much talent's around him. And so if they're able to do something like that in Green Bay, they could absolutely win a Super Bowl. But
right.
I'm not so sure that if they're going to rely on the quarterback's arm to get them that they're actually going to win one.
Yeah, I think the problem is that his cheapness window is closed.
Yeah.
So like having a rookie quarterback or having a young quarterback gives you that's the benefit with Brock Purdy is like they probably got 3 more years where they're not paying him very much money, and so that's going to help. But as soon as you have to start paying him big quarterback money, then it kind of changes your whole team.
Yeah, absolutely.
As
those quarterbacks are not cheap.
Yeah, as we have seen, as we have experienced, it's changed our team
Yes.
where we can't keep everybody that we want to keep. So,
yeah. Well, and I have lots of thoughts on that, but most of these quarterbacks, nobody wants to take the Tom Brady approach, even though they say they do. Nobody does.
Right.
Tom Brady was never, to my knowledge, was never the highest paid quarterback. He was always one of the top quarterbacks, but never the highest because he wanted to keep good players around him, which is why they were able to make so many runs to the Super Bowl year after year after year, because they were able to pay all these guys because they weren't paying their all-star quarterback to be playing. And even Patrick Mahomes. So first off, Patrick Mahomes is worth whatever he wants to be paid, and then some.
Yeah.
You cannot overpay a guy like that. So, but you can't sit back here also and tell me that you wanted to just keep the quarterback market moving, and that money's not important to you, because guess what? Every quarterback that gets paid becomes the highest paid quarterback. You don't have to push the quarterback market. The quarterback market pushes itself. So maybe some of these other positions, sure, you got to help push it a little bit. But for quarterbacks, there is no shortage of people willing to pay quarterbacks. So, but anyway, so not to...
Which I'm looking forward to the day where they make the quarterback position a percentage of the salary cap.
Yeah, I'd be all right with that. That way,
still
pay
have
that
players.
guy and still got exactly.
Right.
So they've been talking about that for a while though, so we'll see if that ever comes to be, but hopefully it will. But we'll see. So I think some of the matchups to watch here are these on both sides, both for the Chiefs and the Packers, are the receivers versus the secondary of each team. So the Chiefs, especially their receivers, they showed up last week. They caught some balls. I mean, hats off to them. Who would have thought that professional players would need to catch a pass? But they were able to do it on a consistent basis, even in the second half. Crazy thought, but they were able to do it and pull that out. So that was great. But we need to see that consistently, as you mentioned before, for another game before we say they're back. And so this is going to be another good test for them. And the Packers might not be a top team overall, but they still have a top 10 pass defense, and so that's going to be something worth looking, worth watching.
Yes, for sure. And I think you mentioned it is we can't abandon the run in the second half. We have to stick with it. And so I think that's going to help our passing. I think Andy Reid's figured out, okay, we have to be balanced to win. This team has to be balanced to win. In years past, it was the jet sweeps and things like that, but I don't think those days are gone right now. And I think we're going to have a heavy dose of Pacheco and Rashid Rice and Travis Kelce had to get going. And so, those were the 3 main targets on Sunday, and I think those will be the 3 main targets Sunday night.
Yeah, I think you're probably correct there. And so the Packers, while they're only 5-6 for their record here, but they still got a lot to play for right now. They are not out of the playoffs by any means. If the playoffs ended today, they would be the number 8 seed. And so, and so I think the top 7 right now make the playoffs. So they're just 1 game out. Top 7, 4. Yeah. They added another one a couple years ago. So now it throws me off. So there used to be 6, now 7 make the playoffs. And so the Packers are just 1 game out of the playoffs. And so they really have to keep winning to make that run in the playoffs, which they want to do. And so they played a game on Thursday night on Thanksgiving, and they played extremely well in that game.
Yes, they did.
And so
they did.
I think you pointed out earlier while we were talking is, man, that probably gave them a lot of confidence. Like, hey, we can beat these teams. You know, we can win games, and we can even make a playoff run here. And so they're going to be coming into this game with a lot of confidence. And because they played on Thanksgiving, you know, that Thursday game, they had a little more days off. So it's kind of like a mini bye week, even with the amount of days they had off to let their bodies recover.
And I know they had a lot of injuries there on the Thanksgiving game. And so that probably helped them too, to get some recovery and get some guys healthy. And so, yeah, we definitely have a challenge. I think it was good that the Green Bay did what they did to the Lions, because it could have been a trap game for us, especially with next week being Buffalo. And now we're kind of like, oh, okay, this team can put up some points. This team can play. Let's make sure we are not overlooking the Green Bay Packers.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, the Chiefs, you know, they have a lot going for them too. You know, they're coming off a big win against a rival, against the Raiders. Their passing game got going. Their running game was not a slouch by any means either. So Pacheco had himself 2 touchdowns, and so he's playing at an elite level. I mean, really, you could say he had 3 touchdowns, because he got one that they got called short, but, you know, in fairness, they handed it to him again. He got in there. So
right.
But he had 2 touchdowns, and man, I don't know if anybody runs as angry as Isaiah Pacheco. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody run as angry as that guy. Gets up off the ground after being hit, and you can tell he's angry still. Or just, I mean, that guy is so much fun to watch.
Yes, he is. He's mad at the ground.
Yes, he's like, why did this ground hit me? Yeah.
So he's just stomping on it. It's great. And so he keeps those legs moving. He keeps running. So, yeah, hopefully Pacheco will do well. I mean, we saw a rare sighting with Clyde Edwards-Helaire last game too. Had a pretty good the carries he had. He did well. And so it looks like he put on some weight. And so maybe he's going to be more of that bruiser kind of back. And so, yeah, if we can get him going, that'd be fantastic too when Pacheco's out. And so definitely love to see that.
Well, McKinnon's out, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, McKinnon's still injured, so hopefully he'll be back this week, but he didn't practice this week yet, so it doesn't look likely that he'll play, but who knows. So Nick Bolton, he's officially done the 4-game injured reserve, so he's met the minimum. That doesn't mean he's going to come back this week, but he potentially could. But I don't think they've designated him yet to be back on the active roster, but I think he's having some limited practice at this point, so he's at least back in the facilities and doing all those things that he needs to be doing to get back there. So, but here's the real question for you too, with him hopefully coming back soon.
Right.
Do you think so? Drew Tranquill has been a breath of fresh air. I mean, you could argue he's been the best defensive player on the Chiefs team this year. I mean, I'm not saying he is for sure, but I'm saying you could make a very legitimate argument. He leads the team in tackles, even though the fact that the first 2 or 3 games, he was just playing certain roles and wasn't even a starter. And he still leads the team in tackles. So when Nick Bolton comes back this year, what do we do with Drew Tranquill?
Yeah, we put him outside linebacker. Him, Willie Gay, and Nick Bolton. Let's go.
So you're going to change your format then?
Well, yeah. Well,
because typically there are plays they definitely have 3 linebackers in, but typically they only have 2 in. So
yeah, but I think you got to get. He's one of those guys. He's a ball hawk. You got to get him on the field when you can. But we got to remember Nick Bolton is one of the best linebackers in the league. Before he got hurt.
I'm not taking anything away from Nick Bolton.
At all. I know you're not. I just want to remind everyone else. Sometimes recency bias gets us like, well, why would we take Tranquill out when we have Nick? And he's doing really well. But Nick Bolton's one of the best linebackers in the league, and so we have to get him back in the game. But I think you have to get. And so maybe it's like subbing either Willie Gay or, give him more breaks and get Tranquill in there. And I'm sure he's smart enough to play both positions, even though there may be different assignments. And so, but yeah, he's a big, especially those third down. I mean, he's a hard hitting, but I mean, you got Willie Gay who flies around.
Yeah.
And makes hard hits.
You got the speed of Willie Gay, you got the power of Nick Bolton, and then you have Drew Tranquill who just always finds himself by the ball. Yeah. I mean, all 3 guys have different strengths and weaknesses, but man, more strengths and weaknesses on all three of those guys.
Yeah.
I think Drew Tranquill, with how he's playing right now, is the best season of his career. And I mean, he's on a 1-year contract with the Chiefs. He could very easily find himself a starter for another team next year too.
Oh, definitely.
And we can talk more about that, towards the end of the season of what to do with some of these guys who are coming off their contracts. But just something to keep in mind with how he's playing is that they're going to have to do something with him, and hopefully they can keep him around, because that was a great pickup by our GM, Brett Veach. So
yes, it was.
And Veach we trust, right?
And Veach we trust. That's right.
All right. Well, here's a few other just things to know about these Packers coming. So the last 2 games, the Packers have been playing a lot better. The past 2 games, the Packers have scored a minimum of 23 points. So they're putting up more points the last couple games. And this last week against the Lions, who have one of the better teams, the Packers had 7 different guys that had a catch. So they're spreading the ball around. And the Packers have 5 guys on their team who have at least 300 yards catching or receiving this season. So with at least 300 yards. So for reference, the Chiefs only have 3 players with 300 or more yards. So
is one of those person a tight end?
It is for the Chiefs. Yes.
Okay, all right, yeah.
This is just anybody that has 300 yards or more receiving. So the Chiefs have 3, the Packers have 5. Jordan Love led them in carries last week, so he had 39 yards on 3 carries last week, and so that's another thing to watch out for. Is Drew Tranquill still here, but Jordan Love carrying the football. So, but hopefully Drew Tranquill can be a spy or something and stop him too.
There you go.
So, and both teams, for the Chiefs and the Packers, are both top 10 in third down conversion percentage. So both teams are good on third down on offense. So we're gonna have to see who does better on the defensive side here. What is your keys? What do the Chiefs have to do to win this game?
Yeah, I think our defense just has to be on the bus and get in the stadium and get dressed out. I think we win.
Okay, so we show up and we are winning, you're saying?
Well, I think our defense. I love our offense, but our defense is good enough to win this game by themselves. And so they may strip sack or they may intercept, pick 6. The offense could put up 0 points. I still think we win.
All right. Well, good to know. We'll find out what happens here.
And I don't think that'll happen, but yeah, that is probably our defense is showing up is what's going to have to take to win. And then I think, is Aaron Jones still out?
As of now. So they've only had 1 day of practice this week, and so you have 1 day of injury report. So they still have a few more days before they designate these guys for sure. But he did not practice in their first practice.
Yeah, and he was in street clothes the Thanksgiving game. So yeah, I would say it's going to be our secondary. Well, watching our secondary, and then defense getting pressure on Jordan Love, making him uncomfortable, make that ball come out. Just don't let him sit back there and pick us apart. I think that was the big thing I noticed against the Lions game. There was no really pressure on Jordan Love, and so he had all day comfortable in the pocket. So yeah, we had to get pressure, and so that's the big key. And then our corners doing what they do, locking down. So
and to your point, in this last game, the Lions had 0 sacks last week against the Packers and only 4 pressures. So only 4 times was he even under duress at all. So that is not good for a defensive side of the ball. So the Chiefs have got to generate some more pressure than that. So especially when you have a younger quarterback, I know he's been in the league a few years now, but I think this is his first year as the primary starter. He's had a few games here and there, but first full year as the primary starter. And so you got to create pressure on guys like that. And to your comp of maybe Derek Carr, right? The key to Derek Carr is what? Get pressure on him, make him uncomfortable, because now the difference between those two is that Jordan Love can run the ball a lot better than Derek Carr.
Right.
Because Derek Carr basically can't run. So but Jordan Love can run, and so you got to contain him while also pressuring him. So he doesn't have necessarily the elite escapability of like a Justin Fields, or Jalen Hurts kind of player, but he definitely has some athletic ability to him. My keys again, you got to pressure Jordan Love, and you have to stop them on third down. So, point out, they have a high third down conversion. So get to third down and keep them at third and long, kind of like we did against the Eagles, right? Don't let them get those short yardage to make those a little bit harder for them. So All right, score predictions. So I
Well,
don't
what
know if
about offense? You got any what's key to offense? We got any keys on offense? We talking about the defense a lot.
Okay, I'll give you. It's the same thing I've had the last 2 weeks. Maintain your momentum in the second half.
There you
Right.
go.
I know
All
you
right.
did it 1 week. I need to see it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, maybe
Show
3.
me that you can put
Yeah.
up points in the second half and that you're not just a one-half team. So,
Okay.
and that
All
could go
right. There
for
you go.
first or second half, but you got to be able to put up points and move the ball in both halves, not just one.
Right. I'd like to see one of my big things I like to see would be another wide receiver come out and kind of claim themselves as the number 2 guy. So I feel like
other than
Rice.
Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I think Rashee Rice has kind of came out and said, "Hey, I'm the number 1 guy, and I want to be the number 1 guy." And so let's give it to him, and then let's see who is it going to be? Justin Watson? Is it going to be MBS? Is it going to be Sky Moore? Is it going to be Tony? Who's it going to be that's going to step out and say, "Hey, I want to be the number 2. Pass me the ball. You can trust me."
Yeah.
Mahomes. So, score predictions.
All right. So right now the Chiefs are a 6-point favorite in Lambeau. So on
That's
Sunday
it?
night, yeah, just 6 points. So
Wow.
What were you expecting it to be?
Well, last week it was 9.5. It started out 9.5. I think it got up to 10
Raiders,
against the Raiders.
Do you really think that the Raiders are better than the Packers?
Well, they got the new coach. They went on a 2-game winning streak. They
That
lost a
sounds like
close
excuses
one.
to me, Dale. I'm hearing a no.
Yeah.
No, they're not better than the Packers. I mean, I'm not saying they
No.
don't have talented players, but the Packers are
Yeah.
better than the Raiders. Maybe not by
All
much,
right.
but they are better. But they are
Okay.
going to Lambeau. It is a Sunday night, so all those things come into effect. Primetime game up in the northern part of the country, potentially in the cold. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be, but it's always cold up there when you get to this time of year. So, so 6-point favorite. I think the Chiefs are going to do more than just cover. I think they're going to continue their momentum, from the previous game, and I think their defense. They gave up 14 points really quick to the Raiders, and I think that kind of got under their skin a little bit, and I don't think they're going to let that happen again.
Right.
And so I think the score is going to be Chiefs 34, Packers 14. So I got a 20-point victory here. So,
oh my goodness!
Hey, last week I thought I was overshooting it, and I was still short on what the spread was. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to have a different score. I feel like so my score is going to be the Chiefs 24 and the Packers 9.
Oh, okay. No touchdowns. Is that what you're saying?
I have a feeling, like you said, I have the same feeling that the defense gave up 14 points real quick. And I think they're going to buckle down, especially in that red zone. So I think they'll get in the red zone maybe 4 times. But what's his name? The coach,
Matt LaFleur.
He is a little aggressive. He'll get aggressive at the end and then not convert. And so we're going to get a couple turnovers there in the red zone, but they'll get 9 points total.
All right. Hey, I'd take that too. So,
well,
I'll take, as long as the Chiefs get a victory, I'll take it. But,
that's right.
All right, let's jump into our player profile this week. So, this week we got some wide receivers, both starters for their teams or close to it. I mean, depending on the week, each team has different starters, but but anyway, so here are your stats for our player profile. So player A for total yards, 351. Player B, 332.
Okay.
Average yards of reception, player A, 16.7. Player B, 16.6.
Oh my goodness.
So first down receptions, player A, 14. Player B, 14. Touchdowns. I know these are close. This might be a little difficult, but it's all right. Touchdowns. Player A has 3 touchdowns. Player B has 2 touchdowns. So reception percentage, the percentage of catches that they make when they are targeted. Player A, 47%. Player B, 51%. So those are your stats for your player profiles here.
There you go. So the touchdowns was 3 and 2.
Yep. And
all right. Yeah. So I'm going with even the percentage, 47, 51. I mean, that's almost a wash. Everything else seemed pretty close. So I'll go with the guy that got 3 touchdowns, which I think is Rashee Rice. And then the other guy is Dobbs.
All right. Well, The first guy is Christian Watson. So the Packers wide receiver, and player B was the Chiefs' Justin Watson. So
Oh,
both guys
okay,
there
got
with
me.
300 yards, both guys with at least 2 touchdowns, 14 first down receptions. So almost equal in yards per reception and percentage and everything else. So
There you go.
yeah,
That's pretty good.
player profile.
All right. Player profile. I got both those wrong. Who did I pick? Who was the player? Was it Christian Watson? Was the guy I
Yes,
picked?
Christian Watson was the guy you picked.
Yeah, he's big. I like him. Hey, what happened to Justin Ross?
Well, funny you bring that. If you remember, he was on the team. Then he got arrested for I don't want to get into all of it, but basically,
Yeah.
he got arrested for some kind of domestic disturbance. So basically, he didn't like hit anyone or whatever else, but he broke some items or anyways. And so now the charges have been dropped against him, from what I understand. And so, and that just happened this week. And so now people are speculating whether the Chiefs will reactivate him or what's going to happen. But as of now, they haven't made any decisions on that just yet. So, but I think with the Chiefs, one thing is proven is they will give guys second chances if they're honest with them. So, but if you try to lie to them and say, "Oh, this didn't happen," or "This is what happened," and then they find out you lied, looking at you, Kareem Hunt. Yeah, exactly. They're just going to kick you to the curb, say, "Hey, we tried to work with you, and you didn't work with us." So if you're honest with them, they will give you a chance.
Yes, definitely. All right, so let's go to our power ranking, Andrew's power ranking here for the AFC, because that's the only league that matters. And let's see where we have the Chiefs at this week.
All right, so not much change this week. Let's start with the bottom dwellers. So the bottom dwellers, I don't know if I could really move anybody this week because they were all awful. The Patriots are still the worst team in the AFC. The Jets are still the second. Yeah, Jets are still the second worst team. And the Titans are still the third worst team. None of those teams look to be improving at all. They're all just bad teams. So those are our bottom dwellers this week. Our AFC Power Rankings, the big boys now.
Okay,
That's right. The ones that really matter. So the number 5 spot is the spot that people are arguing for and fighting for. So I'll give you the people who are competing for it first. So the people who are competing for this spot are the Browns, the Steelers, and the Texans. All 3 of those teams want to be number 5. All 3 of them cannot be number 5. And I think
2 of them lost this week.
Do what?
2 of them lost this past week.
Yeah.
2 of those teams, So, all right. So who you got at number 5?
Number 5, we're going to go with the Steelers this week.
Hey, I like that.
I think Mike Tomlin is a great coach, and he is one of those coaches that's going to always have his team ready, even if he doesn't have all the weapons that some of these other teams do. I think he is that good of a coach. So Steelers are number 5. Number 4, we have the Jaguars. So they are slowly creeping their way up. They can't quite crack the top 3 yet, but they are still improving and are still a team to watch out for. So especially by the time you get to the playoffs, watch out. But side note, I'm not sure the Chiefs should be too worried about the Jaguars quite yet. The Chiefs have still, and Patrick Mahomes is still yet to lose to Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. So they got them figured out for now at least. So number 3, the Dolphins. So still high power offense, still questionable defense. So
there you go. All right.
And I think the top 2 teams in the AFC, I don't think there's even much debate on who the top 2 teams are. The debate is who's number 1 and who's number 2.
Yes.
Right. And so number 2, I have the Chiefs. So I need to. I mean, I liked what I saw last week, but once again, it was against the Raiders. They're a team that has an interim head coach who they had to fire their coach mid-season. So Chiefs definitely get some credit for beating them, but they still have to prove that they can do that against a little bit better team. And the Packers might be that team because the Packers are heavily competing for a playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
So they definitely could catch them. So, and then we have the Ravens still at number 1. Man, they are good on all sides of the ball. Their big question right now is Mark Andrews being out, right? And so their offense looks a lot different without Mark Andrews, because that is Lamar Jackson's safety blanket, the guy he looks to, kind of like Travis Kelce from Mahomes, right? And so Mark Andrews being out makes that offense a lot different. And so we're going to have to see how they do going forward. But those are your rankings for week 13 now, and where we're at now. So we'll see how they shake up this week. But those are that is where we are at for this week.
Man, there you go. Well, I like it. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs, which I'm fired up about. You were talking about the playoff seeding, and I was going to ask you, are you a fan of only the 1 seed getting a bye?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I also don't think they should have 7 teams. I think they should go back to 6.
And give the first 2 seeds
give the first 2 teams a bye, and it's not necessarily even about the bye for the 1 and the 2. It's more so that the number 7 team is getting in. Because if you watch, the standings for these past years, the number 7 team is usually an awful team. They're usually not that good. Right. And okay, is this who we're making an effort? Like, I know their reasoning and doing it is to get one more playoff game, which means more money for the league.
More money.
That's what it's really about. Let's be honest. It's not about the game. It's about the money. That's why they're doing that. But so I'm just not a fan of having 7 teams in general. And so that's why I'm more for the 2-team bye, just simply because that would mean there are 6 teams again.
There you go. All right. Well, that was on my mind. Thought I would ask you. So.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens this Sunday night against the Packers. So thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner. This episode is brought to you by Oh Hey Threads, where a portion of every purchase goes to support missions all over the world, one super soft tee at a time. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and as always, leave us a great review so that other people can find this podcast as well. We'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.